automatically because we're on Skype. And how are you, mate?
Well, that's the question I wanted to ask you, to be honest.
I am good.
Tell me what's happening. Oh, I don't know if you want to go there, but
Well, it's not a question of whether I want to go there, because I'm a raging hypochondriac, so I always want to go there about my medical conditions, but I'm not sure it's particularly interesting for anybody else. Wow. So,
I think it's interesting for me, actually, because I care, and I would like to understand, what's going on, and you just, so you had this blog post, and you see the reaction of the people as well, so.
Yeah, that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have really the mildest form of cancer. If you're going to get skin cancer, I've got the best. I have got the best,
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, yeah, the Rolls Royce of skin cancers. Whereas my best friend had melanoma, and I don't want to get too heavy, which is why I went and got a beer. That's why I'm late, actually, because I said to my wife, I'm going to go get a beer because I've got no more clients today. I know I can see you've got a beer. And I'm drinking girls' beer because it's Miller Lite for anybody that's just listening. But so my wife's best friend had melanoma in her eye. I didn't even know you could get it in your eye. So she lost. They had to take her eye out, and she was given the all clear, and then it was her husband's 50th birthday. So she surprised him with a vacation to India. He'd always wanted to go to India, and then about 2 days before they're due to go, they came back and said they did a PET scan on her, a 6 months checkup or whatever, and said you've got liver mets. So for anybody that doesn't know what liver mets is, it means it's that the cancer's metastasized to the liver. There's two places you do not want mets: liver and pancreas. Pancreas is like pancreatic cancer is. They say online it's 95% fatal. Helen's been doing this 20 years. She's never known anybody survive it, which is fucking terrible if somebody's now listening to this and they've never been given that diagnosis, because it must be based in fact. It's and so she is, probably got not long. So I think this spooked Helen a bit, because I'm out in the sun all the time, and I have a fairly fair complexion with the inability to grow hair to cover up my any spots that, and I go out and I take the dogs out every day. I never wear a hat, never put sunscreen on. I used to go and play golf. I'd never wear sunscreen. The only time I can remember wearing sunscreen was when my mum told me to wear it or my wife told me to wear it. And she booked herself in for just a basic dermatological exam, like a screening thing. And what she didn't tell me, she's not a hypochondriac, and she actually had a basal cell carcinoma removed and never even told me. I'm blogging it to the world. and she's like, what's that? Oh, it's nothing, don't worry about it. And something else, she got something else crop up on her back, and she was a little bit concerned, and she thought, well, I'm going to take him in as well. So we went in, and I have this thing. I'm not going to show you because it would mean, well, I am. I'm going to show you. But it means show my love handles. But I've got this thing, this like mole thing there, and a couple of times to her I've said I'm a little bit concerned about it because it's kind of like, well, I've had it a long time, but I wasn't sure if it had changed or whatever, but I was more aware, once my best friend got melanoma, and, suddenly you start thinking about these things a little bit more deeply, and so she booked an appointment for me. So this was our wedding anniversary, so this is our 19th wedding anniversary. Her first appointment is with the gynecologist just for her annual checkup. Her second appointment is at the dentist. Her third appointment is at the fucking dermatologist. And he said, oh, by the way, you can have a lie-in if you want, because I'd cleared the day thinking, oh, it's going to be nice for, whatever. But you come into me with a dermatologist because I made an appointment for you. And I'm like, okay, so she went in first, and I went they take you into a separate room, and I was just sat there. And the dermatologist came in and said, why are you here? I said, I have fucking no idea. I said, I've got this thing here, this, like, maybe it's that. And she looked at it, and she basically went, stop wasting my time, basically. She said, no, that's just, I can't remember what she called it. She said, but it's irregular, and it's, it's kind of like a mole or whatever. She said, but while we're here, let's do an exam. And so by this time, they already stripped you down to put one of these really attractive paper aprons on with your ass hanging out the back, but you can't leave your underwear on or whatever. And like almost immediately, she went, ooh, that looks interesting. And I think I put in the post, there's certain people you don't want to hear that from. Yeah. I can remember my dentist one time saying that looks interesting, or you think, fucking hell, interesting what? Because it's going to raise your bank balance, or interesting because it's going to be like featured in a documentary where you teach other dentists, or interesting because you've like found the holy fucking grail. What is it? I mean, it's not. It's probably not good, So she said that, and then said about another one. And then she called the nurse and said, we need to take some biopsies. And she said, I think you got. I think this is a basal cell, and this is a squamous cell, and we need to start treating your head now because it's too bald. She didn't actually say that. That was my. I'm like, does it mean I'm going to come out with a full head of hair? And I said, okay, so what's the treatment? She said, well, we use, somebody said to me afterwards, was it nitrous oxide? I said, no, that's fun. This is like liquid nitrogen, where they freeze it, and then that takes it. And I said, okay, so what's the side effects of that? She said, well, your forehead's going to go all scabby and, it's going to go all scab over, basically. And I'm like, I'm going to a fucking conference in 2 days. I really don't want to go with a scabby forehead. And she said, well, we can start chemotherapy. And I'm like, well, what's that involved? And it's this cream. She said, but there's the side effects, you're vomiting and what have you. And I said, well, I'll probably be vomiting anyway from the excess of alcohol that I'll drink at this conference. So that's probably not a problem. People see me hurling at like 11 o'clock in the morning. They just think, oh, yeah, I had too much to drink last night. That's okay. So I took that option, and they did the biopsies. And the biopsies, by and large, apart from one, came back benign. I have got one right in the middle of my back, exactly where my friend's was. And Helen got one in the middle of her back, which is like pre-melanoma, so I've got to have surgery to have that removed. It's not, it's surgery, but it's like outpatient surgery, and it's like a few stitches, and it's like a wide excision margin. It'll probably hurt like fuck for a few days afterwards because I got a hole in my back, but I've got a hole in my ass, and I got used to that. So. Yeah. So that's where we are. I didn't start the treatment. I've got to go back. I've got to make an appointment to go back. So I've not started the treatment on my head. And the reason why Helen, I think, was really concerned was every now and then my head would start bleeding for no reason. And it would scab over and bleed. And that's apparently not a good sign. And thinking about it now, you'd have to think, well, when would it be a good sign?
Say when your head bleeding,
Well, why is the blood pouring down your head? Have somebody just punched you? No, it just bleeds randomly on its own.
Sign of good luck in France.
Exactly. Don't worry. 7 years of good luck. Yeah. Lick the blood off me. Don't worry, there's no HIV involved.
By the way, man, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you still don't have your headset, but that's fine. If you want to... Oh, you have them.
I have it present. And the only reason why I have it present, and I will plug, so you're going to miss me or there may be a bit of feedback where I unplug my headset in. So hang on a second. So let me just start it up again. Okay, so you've not missed anything important, people. I just changed my. Actually, maybe they did.
Maybe I think they did something very interesting.
They did.
We had the joke about the blood on the head, and it was signed. It was the first joke ever, But
first joke ever that was fun, where my head started bleeding and people were licking my head for good luck. But other than that, it was like stigmata, but better.
Ta 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 ta.
Yeah, exactly. So
what? So is it benign? What is it, man? Because every time that we hear cancer things, it's like it's scary shit, man. It's scary shit, and I couldn't help it. I was just like, oh fuck, I was really
oh fuck, I need to find somebody to help me with this podcast.
Yeah, and I went straight to Keith, by the way. But that's
yeah, of course. Why not? I mean, you've joined up with him with every other fucking project you've done, and that's an in-joke. Nobody else will know what we're talking about. No. The other person listening won't know what we're talking about. But no, is it benign? No, but like I say, there are different stages and different variants and so on and so forth. So, is it life-threatening? It would be if I didn't do anything about it, but it's almost certainly not. There's a lot of people. There's probably a lot of people listening to this thinking, "Yeah, I had basal cell stuff taken out my head or whatever." It's fairly common in especially Australia, US, southern US, because the people that live there tend to be fair-skinned and they're not used to it. So this really doesn't exist in like Africa because they've adapted to it. It's like adaptation of the species or whatever. So no, it isn't. And to be honest, I don't even want to dwell on it or even bore people with it, because it's like really not that important at this point. If I'm on my deathbed, trust me, I'll be on the fucking phone to you saying, "Get me on that podcast. We need to talk now. I need some sympathy."
You need some sympathy. I have some wisdom to share. Finally, I know the meaning of life. Right? I will tell you everything that I didn't want to tell you before.
Yeah,
but that should change. Something must have changed. When I'm sure it impacts you in some way. No, kind of.
No,
really.
No, I'd like to say yes, but no, it didn't. I mean, it freaked me out a little bit when she went, when we went through the process of her saying, "Ooh, not sure about that," and we need to do some biopsies. I think I've had biopsies done before, mainly by myself, just to check. I'll just run I'll just biopsy my liver or whatever.
I'll take a good knife. And,
I'll get onto WebMD. It's just like, lift it. What do I do here? Okay, I shove this in there. But no, not really. It's just fucking. No. I'll tell you what. So I was driving back. So I went to this conference, this John Morrow conference, over the weekend, which was absolutely
Which one?
fucking.
Sorry.
John Morrow.
John Morrow, okay.
John Morrow runs a site called Boost Blog Traffic, and my opinion of John Morrow before I went to the course, well, that's not true. My opinion of John Morrow 6 months ago wasn't very high. My opinion of him 2 months ago was like much higher, because he works with somebody who I've got a lot of respect for. And my opinion when I went to the course was, you know what? And I came away from thinking, what a fucking lovely guy. He's quadriplegic, and I just thought, he uses a lot of tactics to sell things that I kind of rear back from, because I want people to buy stuff because they want to buy from me. But that's not the real world. And John lives much more in the real world in some respects than I do. and he's just a lovely guy with a great sense of humour, and I love listening to him speak. And so the point I was going to make was I was driving down there, or rather driving back on the Sunday night, and I had to leave rather quickly, which was disappointing because the last day was the mastermind group where we talked about other people's issues and that, and I had to leave fairly quickly, and I felt a little bit embarrassed about it. Not because for any other reason. Most of the people were staying overnight, and I knew I got like a 3.5, 4 hour drive back. But also, my wife had texted me saying there's a massive storm coming in, which is typical at this time of year in Florida, which I hit about halfway back, where you can't barely see the end of the bonnet or hood. Is it hood or is that the back end? Yeah, hood of your car. It was raining that hard, and the concentration levels are that hard. And I was driving back from that thinking, this is scarier than when I was at the oncologist or the dermatologist. I beg your pardon.
But is it something, sorry to interrupt, but is it something, because you always talk about that, well, not always, but you love to talk about the brain. So do you think that is this kind of information that you cannot process because you cannot, it's you just block that? Is it a filter, or is it, or?
No, I don't think so. I think it's I think I'm a realist for the most part. I think that, it helps being married to an oncologist. Helen, some of the stories that I hear from Helen are just, horrific. People coming in with tumours as big as their head. Yes, literally, where they've. I don't know if you've ever seen or watched the movie How to Get Ahead in Advertising, with, and it's basically where this guy has this, and it's Richard. Excuse me, I just burped then. Richard E. Grant, is it? Who's the guy that was in With Nail and I, which is one of my favourite all-time films? British guy, Richard E.
Which
Grant.
one?
With Nail and I.
Doesn't ring a bell at all. You should Google it.
But
I like the way that you burp, by the way. You burp with dignity, I have to tell you that.
Thank you very much. It's because I've had I've not even had a beer. I've had like about a quarter of a beer. Okay. You fucking completely knocked me off my flow now.
I know that. Because
you did that. Because you know how easy that is to knock me off my flow, so you did it intentionally.
You have lots of flow, my friend.
Bastard. Yeah.
You're a total MC, my friend.
Yeah, I've got so much flow, they call me Michaeli Csikszentmihalyi. That's a rather highbrow joke, isn't it?
I didn't get it, but that's fine.
That's what I mean.
I'm not supposed to get. I'm not supposed to get your jokes, Yeah,
it's highbrow. Well, Michaeli Csikszentmihalyi, he was the co-founder, almost co-founder. I mean, kind of followed him with Martin Seligman for positive psychology, and he wrote the book Flow. So whenever you hear people talk about flow, about the flow state, that's Michaeli Csikszentmihalyi. He wrote the book called Flow, the optimal something of achievement. I can't think what it's called now. And I read the book, and I read it because it was one of those books where I read it because I thought I should read it, because I kept getting fed up with people saying, "Oh, this was taken from Flow" or whatever. And I just thought, well, I need to read this.
And what did you get from that?
I didn't really get that much, because so much of it has been raped and pillaged. It's like a lot of books. It's a little bit like Cialdini's influence. It's like so many of the ideas have been taken and then used elsewhere or explained elsewhere or whatever, that I'm not sure I got that much from it. Yeah, I can't remember because it was like 4 years since I read it.
So if for people that don't know, well, for the one person, I guess, who don't know or who listening to this podcast and that doesn't know what flow is it if am I right to say it's when you are in the zone, kind of, is this kind of mental state and everything is, you just like, how do I say, everything is easy, or you don't feel like time is passing and
pretty much. I'm not saying it would be everything's easy, but you're right with the time thing. Time seems to have no significance. So for a lot of people it stands still, for other people it speeds up or whatever, but time becomes almost like academic. It's just like, it's just, so you get there, you think about all the things you do where you just so, like I suppose meditation would be a similar thing. It could be called that way. You're in the moment and you're in it. And, Csikszentmihalyi did a lot of research into this in the mid to late 80s and talked to people. And there were even people where they did very mundane jobs, but they would get into that flow state where it will be, I don't care that I'm doing widgets on a conveyor belt or whatever. It's like, how many can I do in the next hour? Oh, and I did 60. Oh, I want to do 61, and and that kind of like that. Just this is what I do. There's a meditation teacher, and I'm going to struggle to remember her name now. A female meditation teacher, and forgive me, I can't remember her name. And she talks about if you're sweeping the floor, just sweep the floor the best you can and concentrate on sweeping the floor. Nothing else matters. And it really doesn't. You're talking to me about having a cancer scare. It doesn't matter at the moment because I can allow it to matter and then not have this conversation for you. I could allow it to matter and then not have been able to listen to John and the people who he brought up to speak, who were all fucking amazing, and it would be like, well, then I could get the, oh, you're okay, Tim, and it'd be like, well, what a fucking waste, what a waste, and that's one of the things that I admire so much about John. The guy writes for 2 hours every morning. He reads for 2 hours every day. And, obviously things are an effort for him. And I don't want to sound patronising. I really don't want to sound patronising because I think that would be the last thing that he would want. But it's like my admiration was like just through the roof. I'm just like thinking, there's me lying in bed thinking, oh, I feel a bit fucking tired. I can't be asked to get up now. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but these people, and I've seen many of them in coming to this podcast. Tim Harris, for instance, or this people that will tell you they almost live this perfect life to say, okay, the first thing that I do, I wake up at 6:30 in the morning, and then I do 50 push-ups, and then I do my meditation routine, and then I do 2 hours writing, and then I do this, and you say, just like you said, you say, oh my God, I'm so far from doing that, and just you start to compare yourself. And I'm starting to think, is it really what's happening with them? Don't you think that at some stage and one day they say, oh shit, you know what? I will just drink beers and take pizzas and do you think that they have this kind of, process that every day they will live this almost monk life, which is, when I say perfect, it's not perfect, but it's so much, they do the stuff that it's regular, rhythmic, and everything is almost perfect. Meditation, exercising, writing, learning, and cultivating, and all this stuff. And it seems like it's almost non-human. You see what I mean? It's almost like.
I completely get where you're coming from, and I think there are definitely examples of that, you know. And one of the reasons why I'm not popular with certain people in the self-development industry is because I've called some of those people out, right, where they don't walk the walk. You know, I'm not going to mention names like Robin Sharma, but you know, I think with John, I don't think there's any bullshit about it at all. I think that's what he does. And he's obviously spoken to a lot of people, authors. He's spoken to people that I see as being the driven people, like Seth Godin. And I'm struggling to come up with examples after that because most of the people he mentioned I wasn't familiar with. I didn't dare tell him because he mentioned at one point Gretchen Rubin, and when we did the mastermind thing, you know, I wanted to say that I thought Gretchen Rubin's book was singly the worst book that I'd ever read on self-development. But that's just from a technical standpoint and so much stuff that I think she got wrong. I think for him, it's not bullshit. Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're right. I think that there are people that are like that they pretend that. You know, Robin Sharma's one. You know, he lied to me and he bullshitted me, and he you know, and I wrote an entire post about my experiences with him. And
so, what was the story? Actually, I'm not aware of this guy. So, what?
Well, he wrote The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, which was kind of like a really cool book in many respects. And really, you know, even now I like it as a book. But basically, he took a load of people's other ideas, but he delivered it as a novel. So the minute you make it a novel as non-fiction, then you can get away with quoting other people, or you know, because you change you change it around a little bit. And you know, I contacted him and said, "Look, I'm really impressed with this book." And I still am, and you know, could we do an interview? And he said, yeah, of course. Not yes, of course, because it's you, Tim Brown. So I didn't mean like that. He said, yes, of course, we could do an interview.
Can I interrupt? Can I stop you just there? And I know where you are.
Sure.
Yeah, I know where you are because I can tell you after that, because I always interrupt your flow. So, fuck's sake, man, you can get people to interviews and I can't, you know. Should we switch jobs, you know, for me, for you to invite people? Because I have no fucking, you know, kind of charisma.
You've got loads of fucking charisma.
Yeah.
My wife thinks you're fucking good. You've got you could have my wife would
yeah,
say,
sure. That's another point. But anyway, go back to the story where you were interviewing the guy.
So he's got like 1 million followers, and he started following me on Twitter, and we had a few conversations. And I asked him if he'd do an interview for my website, and he said yes. And basically he gave me the details of his secretary or PA, VA, whatever. And I contacted them and I sent the questions in. And then about 2 months later, I'd not heard back, so I followed up, and they said, "Oh, we've never had the questions." I said, "Okay, you know, I have a rather obnoxious habit of then saying, okay, you didn't get the questions, but I will forward the original email and then say, okay, the questions are below so they can see that it did get them." And I know that's not really very sensible. And so I did that, and I got a response back from Robin saying, okay, we'll do this. And then same thing happened again. 2 or 3 months went by. And I emailed them, and they said exactly the same things. "Oh, we've had a change of secretary or whatever. The questions have gone missing. Could you send them again?" So I sent them in again. And then about 6 weeks went by, and then I was on Twitter one day, and he posted something along the lines of, I'd have to go back and look, and I'm not even sure if it's there available anymore, but he posted something along the lines of just about helping people. I can't remember what the quote was now. And I responded by saying, "That's ironic. When, you know, we've been trying to set this up for 6 months." And then he just tore into me with a DM saying, "You tried to humiliate me in public." And I said, no, if you're thick-skinned or whatever, that wouldn't be an issue for you. So then he came back and said to me, so you're accusing me of being thin-skinned? And I said, well, no, that's not what I said. So he said, okay, well, I'm going to send the answers to the questions in. So he sent the answers to the questions in. And I'd sent him like 20 questions. He answered about 5 or 6 of them. And they were the most banal, boring answers I've ever had. And I'm just like thinking, I can't run this. It's just like I've no value to anybody. It's more like a political interview. Like, what do you want to do for the poor? Well, I'm going to help the poor, and I'm going to stamp out. It's just, it was a bit like that. And I asked him these interesting questions, and I had a similar experience with Chris Gilleby, who I actually think is a nice guy, but just anything that's remotely controversial that he doesn't want to have anything to do with. And I get that to a point. I get that. But with him, so then I emailed him back and said, I can't run this. You've not even answered half the questions. And he blamed his BlackBerry, saying, it's obviously, and it didn't, and so eventually I did run the interview, and I ran it in conjunction with us having these conversations back and forth, to the point where he unfollowed me on Twitter, and he made a few accusations against me via DM or whatever. So I stripped out the interview and said, I left the title in the interview with Robin Sharma, which is probably not very professional and what have you, because I knew it would rank on Google. And basically said, this is what really happened. So I told the story, and that's why a lot of people in the industry don't like me. Because I think it's important to have integrity, to be honest, if you can't do it and do it well, then that's fine. If he'd have come back to me and said, Tim, I get inundated with requests. I've had 4 or 5 emails today, Olivier, for people asking me to help them, and I just can't help everybody. And if I'm getting that, I can't imagine how many somebody like him is getting. Yeah. Or somebody like, Gretchen Rubin or, whatever. I get that. But that's not the point. It's like you can say no with dignity. And you can say no with, I appreciate your support and thank you for your nice, because I put The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari in my top 20 books, self-development books of all time. I wouldn't put it in my top 20 self-development books of all time now, partly because I've read a lot more, not partly, but only because I've read a lot more. I still think it's a really good book. I still think he did a phenomenal job of delivering a message. But then when I started to look at his Twitter feed, he's a fucking raving narcissist. Everything about that he in his feed was about him, or him retweeting people telling him how amazing he was. My Twitter feed last night was, I'm at the gym and some guy just walked past me with pain is pleasure or something, and I tweeted, is he in the right club? And Sonia Simone, who I love to bits, and she came back and said to me, are you in the right club? Yeah. So I responded, I said, I've no idea, but I thought these 2-pound nipple clamps were working me out. I didn't realise, whatever. So I love conversations like that. And it's just, to me, it's just like about being who we are, not trying to pretend like,
Can I be very honest with you?
Of course you can. That.
Of course, and I will be it because there's I don't know actually why I'm asking you, but but to me we started this interview and for the first I can see that you're tired, or there's something that you're in low energy, or there's something that your flow is very different from what we had before, right? So are you in this state of tiredness, or are you tired right now? How are you? Are we talking about honesty?
Oh, fucking hell. How observant are you?
Yeah, fuck, I am not perfect.
I'm not observant. I've got somebody else watching it for me, and they said, hey, guess
Hey,
what?
look, he's tired.
Yeah.
Wake up.
I think, well, as you know, so what time is it now? 2:44. 2:44 on a Friday for anybody that's listening. So I've got an appointment with my oncologist at 4, so there's a little bit of concern about that. There's a little bit of I've had half a beer, and it doesn't really take that much for me to become a little bit. And there's also a little bit of the fact that my fucking wife got me up at the crack of dawn because her car wouldn't start when she was going to work. So her car now has been towed away. And I got up half asleep. I am the worst person to wake out of a deep sleep. It just it crushes me for so long. It just really, really does. Seriously, I'm not joking. If I have a day where and I was in a deep sleep, so to the point where she's pushing me, and I'm thinking this is part of my dream, like I'm on a boat. Seriously. And
that's a good one, actually.
Yeah. And so it was. So I think it's a combination of things. And then, so I've got to go and see my oncologist, then I've got to come back. My aunt's over and I've not seen her for 6 years, so we're going out for a meal tonight. And I'm thinking, oh God, I'm so tired already. And I think the most important aspect of it is I'm a fucking wuss.
Okay, define wuss according to your. What is a wuss for you?
Fucking hell, it's like asking a comedian to explain a joke, because it was a joke. It was just
okay. I took it seriously. For
yeah, I know. Okay. Well, I'm just a bit. I don't want to fucking go on about it. You know I suffer from chronic fatigue, so energy is not something that I've got masses of. And the weird thing is, people think I have, because I talk so fast and I'm buzzing, I'm enthusiastic, and then afterwards I'm just fucking exhausted. I've got to go and lie down, or maybe give him a beer or a bourbon. The first time we got down to this conference, to John's conference, somebody, one of my favorite people in the world, Tim Gary, who does the. He used to do my techie support, and lovely guy. And I think after my diagnosis, if it wasn't that he was going to be there, I wouldn't have gone, and I'd have felt bad about that, because it was a look like, oh yeah, lame. And I went to see him, and his wife, Karina, who I'd never met before, she got this bottle of bourbon. She kept topping it up, and now then, because it's like a combination of sugar and alcohol, whatever, my energy was through the roof. It was this is fucking fantastic. I just the weekend was fantastic, actually. The weekend was fantastic. It's just that I just have to manage my energy a bit more carefully. So I don't feel low energy now. Actually, I really don't. So I fucking resent that. I am
okay,
never
say no. I say fuck you. No, you're wrong.
Fuck you, you French
bastard. I miss that. I miss but this is actually one of the sign. One of the son that told me that you were
abused.
Exactly. Exactly. Same.
Your energy must be low because you haven't called me a complete French twat. Yeah.
Or something. There was something which was different. So that's why I was worrying about you, to say, wow, what's happening? What's happening? Something is different.
No, sorry, go on.
But to me, it's I was almost dreading this conversation, because I say, how there's something which is serious coming around and everything. So, and our theme of the podcast, we try to be very jokey. We always try to make fun of everything and everything, right? And I say, you know what? And just before our conversation, actually, I had a fight with my wife, and I'm alone in Paris because I've started my new job in Paris, and she's with the kids in Dubai. Mm-hmm. and she's doing everything on her own, and I'm doing my work here, and with a separation, and you see there's tension, and it's hard for everyone right now.
Of course it is, yeah.
It's just we're just it's very hard to be separated, and we have to do our stuff, And it's so quick. You just snap like this, you just snap. You just like you're in your head, and you say, but you don't realize, this is work, and I have to do this. And she said, you don't realize, this is how, how difficult it is with your kids. And we were just so far apart. And we stayed, to be honest, we stay connected with Skype like this, and we look at each other for 5 minutes without talking like this. Until the tension came down, and started to talk again. We started to connect.
That is genius.
Well, but
I think you taught that by a cat. Seriously, I am not being facetious in the least. That people can listen to that and say, you look at somebody for 5 minutes. That is so fucking hard, man.
It's to look someone in the eyes. Did you do this exercise, by the way, that you're facing someone and you just look at in the eyes, of a person?
You're not going to go down landmark,
right? Anyway.
Yeah.
So no, okay, fair. So, but it's very hard.
Actually, did you see the comment on my blog post today?
Which one?
Somebody said something about. They responded to your comment. What was your last comment on my blog? And then
okay, so this is exactly what I've said. I said, I'm not a deaf coach because, deaf is just a subject that I love to talk about, but everyone now Keith.
Hang on. For anybody listening, that's deaf. Deaf. He can hear.
Not deaf, like deaf, dying.
As in like that. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I said, no, I'm just a team secret lover, and what did I say after that? I said, if you die, we will do a podcast. We already scheduled a podcast with a channeler, somebody who can talk with the dead, and we will still continue the journey together doing this podcast. And this is what I said. That's my comment. Did you want to say something else about that?
No, not really, because that's not the fucking comment I was thinking of.
No.
Because that sounds like, if you were channeling me when I was dead, I know exactly what I'd say.
2 knocks for fuck you. No?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be 2 knocks for fuck you. I wouldn't waste a knock.
That's the first joke that you did for this podcast. Very good, thank you. You're back, man.
Oh, I'm back. Fantastic. Back. I am back. Yeah, and I think, sometimes, in terms of being serious, not serious whatsoever, I think it's good sometimes, to show the fact that we can be serious. Everybody will turn off. Nobody will be listening. But I think for our own sanity and what have you, yeah.
No, so I'm going back to the story with so just before having a call with you, I had this fight with my wife, and we managed to get over it and to connect again. But my state of mind was very like, okay, I cannot do what we did I cannot go to this fun part because it's still heavy with me, with what I just had with this episode, with my wife. And now, and on top of that, I knew that you had this condition now, and I cannot even say cancer. I say condition because I want to kind of, not go there.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it is a condition.
Condition.
Fuck it. It's not liver cancer. It's not. There's like a billion different cancers that are worse. So yeah, fuck it. The condition's fine.
And if you're exactly right. Fuck it. It just, I think it's not because we start a path of joking and it has to be silly and stuff like this. It's we always wanted to do something which is a bit different, So even we have some insights between all these shits that we did. We had like 18. That will be the 18th episode that we recorded,
No shitting. Really? 18 times I have fucking wasted my time talking to you. I can't fucking believe it. people are telling me at this mastermind group, what a dick I was for wasting time on all sorts of things. But if I'd have told them about you, they would have been
you're just like...
I would have been laughed out of the room, yeah.
But actually, what did you learn about this mastermind? And I'm curious to say, okay, so what is the secret now? Is it in these courses, are you learning how to make billions? Is it what they teach you?
I don't think so. And I can't. The mastermind part of it is specific to people's industries and personalities and what they're doing with their businesses. So I can't really talk about that anymore. Now we'll talk about a client. What did I learn from it? I learned that I jumped to conclusions too quickly. I jumped to a conclusion about John because he uses what I always considered to be like hard sell tactics. So that's the first thing I learned. The second thing I learned was there's way more people there that want to help you than maybe you realise. And to me as a life coach and you as a life coach, we're all about helping people, and sometimes it's very easy to become cynical and think that, we get hired by people that just want help but don't necessarily want to give it back. So that's the second thing I learned. The third thing I learned was, do you want me to stop at like number 9 or anything?
No, because I'm sure you're making this up as long as you go.
Yeah, no, I
come to something which is come with okay. So bottom line. What will you do? What will change for you now? So what will you try to do? What you'll try to implement from what you learned?
Well, I think the one thing that John taught me more than anything is that what I do has value, and I shouldn't just give it away all the time. And that's what I do, So what we're doing now, I think this is a little bit different because we're having fun. And, if you said to me, I'm going to pay you for doing this, I'd be like, don't be fucking stupid. That's like, it's like my best buddy telling me I'm going to pay you to come out for a drink with me. It's just like, I fucking love it. It's not a chore or whatever. So I think, but a lot of what I do is I'm helping people. I get probably 1 or 2 emails a day from people saying, thank you for helping me with your free stuff. And I love that, and I get that. And, I wouldn't want that any different, especially if they can't afford to hire me.
Yeah.
But also, okay, actually the number one takeaway, I am so fucking vulnerable. If I can't work, we're fucked. Completely and utterly fucked. Helen's doing a doctorate, which costs a fortune in this country. We haven't got kids, but we've got 3 dogs, and whereas they're not as expensive as kids, or it's not the same, and I understand that. But we still have to be paid for. So I came away from there thinking, man, you're just fucking leaving yourself open. If anything happens to you, you're going to be bankrupt. I wouldn't go bankrupt, actually, because I'd just fucking get on a plane and go back to England with my American credit card so that they could... So I think that's a takeaway. But another thing, I know, and I'll come back in a second, but the other takeaway is... the way I realised how I misjudged somebody because they do internet marketing. And I felt bad about that from about an hour in with John, because it was obvious to me. And, I could be wrong. I have been wrong in the past, once or twice. But I don't
more
think
than
so.
that, I think. But
Yeah, more than that, okay. So it was like very easy for me to judge somebody and to say, okay, they're just trying to accumulate wealth. But he, like you and like me, is trying to accumulate wealth through helping other people, except he's just much better at it than we are.
Okay. So fine. I respect. Can I throw something here?
Yeah, of course you can.
I can. So you know when you say you say you're fucking vulnerable, right? And that actually hit me, you know, when you say like, oh fuck, you know, he's saying this and you're showing this vulnerability side that you rarely show actually on the show. You just always come with these stories and you turn everything into a joke at the end as a protective measure, as I think. But
you're psychoanalyzing me. Yeah.
And I think people see that. Everyone see that. And I think I can tell you, I love you, man. You know, without any
tongues.
Any tongues and cheeks and things. I'm trying to say I'm a gay lover.
Cheeks. I was thinking
tongues and gay and things. Anyway, and things. It's.
Thank you.
See, I'm catching myself too much.
No. Sometimes it's okay to say, but forget all the coaching thing about but negates what you say. It really doesn't sometimes, but it's okay to say.
So the point that I'm trying to make is, it's not. I went to you for a reason, right? Because what I see in you, I see things in myself, you know, and behind all this, you know, the swearing, the kind of, you know, childish and cynicisms and, you know, things like that. So behind all this, there's this vulnerable side of you, which is so apparent. And I think this is actually what makes you, people come to you, I think. Because behind all this, because all these swearings and you know, they see that the people, the smart guy behind that, but behind that there's something else. So when you say you love helping people for free, you know, but this is what you said. Fuck yes. And to say, thank God that there's someone like you doing this differently to people to say, and I've seen this and I've read so many times, you know, like coaching will say, you know, everything that you do needs there's a value, there's a dollar value. Maybe there's it's not about the money, I think. And when you see the reaction of the people when you just post this blog post about cancer, come to you straight away. And when you see the impact that it does to me, I think this is not about dollars, money, and value. It's about, I think, if you are in deep shit, because the way that you are, I will help you. And that counts much more than anything compared to, you know, earning from what you're giving away, you know.
Okay. My routing number is 72-106. Send a check. No, I understand what you're saying, and thank you for saying that. And you know, when you contacted me saying, would you come on the podcast? And I can't remember how the conversation went now, and I was like, I'd like to co-host it. I have no expectations of ever making any money of this. If we make money from this, it's like, fuck, that's amazing. It's just like...
No, we need to shut it down. You know, we shut it down. We just say, okay, it's the last episode. We have a sponsor. Okay, last episode, fine.
Yeah, we have a sponsor by I'mADick.com, you know, or whatever. To me, this is fun. This is like... But then again, I see coaching as fun. So I've done 2 clients this morning. When I say I've done 2 clients this morning, I may have coached 2 clients this morning. I don't do. I don't do my clients. And it's like, it wasn't a chore. Going to my oncologist is a fucking chore. Yeah, that's a fucking chore. But it's like I have the opportunity to help people and get paid for it. And sometimes I can't fucking quite believe it. I can't quite believe that people want to pay me for doing something that I'd probably want to do for free. Mm-hmm. You know, if you put $10 million in my bank account, Did I tell you the routing number again? But no, if you did, it would be
okay, so hold on for a second. Do you want me to write a song, for you, like giving to Tim, a charity song?
No, fuck off. If you do that, I'll kill you. Oh, I've just remembered what the comment was, because somebody, I did a link to your
CTI thing.
Yeah, CTI, where there was everybody dancing and happy and hugging each other.
Fuck.
And somebody left a comment. Oh, you've obviously not seen this. And somebody left a comment saying, we've got to put this underneath. We've got to put a link to this for people who watch it.
I will do it.
But somebody left a comment saying, something along the lines that I was with you until that video kicked in. And I said, I'm ever so sorry. Olivier designed and choreographed that video. But anybody that's not listening, the CTI training he did. What? You explain. You explain
to you. Actually, it's not the training. It's every year CTI, so is the coactive coaching organization, which is the biggest coactive coaching organization as
shit.
Sorry.
Nothing. Never said a word. Carry
on.
Anyway.
So it's ICF. Anyway, so every year they have their CTI summit.
It's ICF, did you say?
It's ICF recognized.
Oh yeah, International Comp Federation. Yeah, carry on.
Is it like that? You'll have. Remember,
we said we'd never use the C word again, and I apologise for anybody listening. But it's my favourite comedic word, so it was a joke, and I apologise. International Carrot Federation. Carry on.
Yeah, carrot is good.
Carry on.
So they had this summit. Every year they organize this CTI summit, so coactive coach. So you have all this gathering. It's about hundreds of coaches over there to discover, I don't know. It's so boring. I can't have a word. But anyway, this last year, what they had a song. To finish the CTI summit, which was called "We Are One." We are one, and the chorus went.
I've got to come in now because we're on Skype, and he didn't even fucking look at me.
What did you do?
He's talking straight into the microphone now, and he's he's looking to one side and to the left because he knows he can't look at me and say, "This is what we're going to do." He's so fucking embarrassed.
But you're right. Actually, I'm so fucking embarrassed to be part of this.
Even though it's your idea.
No, it's not my fucking idea.
That's what I tell my readers, so they all believe it.
For fuck's sake.
So a couple of thousand people believe it was your idea. And that's good enough for me. That makes me smile.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. You know what? I will take that as well. Okay, that was my idea. It's this cheesy song saying we are one. We are
cheesy. Mate, it wasn't cheesy.
It was what?
Cheesy is like, cheesy is like Olivia Newton-John, or cheesy is like, who's that Canadian woman that's like...
Celine Dion.
Yeah, Celine Dion. That's cheesy. This is like cheese with more cheese injected into it, then wrapped in cheese and baked in cheese, and then deep fried in some more cheese. This is like...
But that's it. And I contacted you I've sent you this email when I was certified. I give you a story and to say... And basically this email that I've sent you was almost like, you know what? I'm not part of this. I'm not part of this. What I would like.
I'm never going to let you get away from it, though.
I know.
You should have just sent me an email saying, "Tim, I'm a life coach. Do you fancy doing a podcast?" Not Tim. This is nothing to do with me, so I can refer back to it again and again and again.
I use that to say, okay, can we do something? Because I said, okay, if it was me, we would have ooters of waitresses. We had beer. We would have alcohol. We would have rock music. We would have
beer and alcohol. Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't think that they had alcohol, obviously, because they had this vegetarian. Anyway, so obviously it's all about health. Vegan.
Tofu.
So I wanted, to prove my point, I wanted to create, which is almost the opposite of that, which is to say it's about it's not about cheesy song. It's about how real are you, right? You know?
Jeez, I think you missed a cheesy out there.
I missed
cheesy. Yeah, if you'd have got one more fucking cheesy in there, I would have been convinced. I would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I get that. I get that. It's yeah. Because he said cheesy 5 times, but he only said it 4 times, so I'm not quite sure that he's really legitimate.
So, but look, you know, we had this podcast, right? And you are obviously
nobody's listening to.
Nobody's listening, and I fucking don't care. You're tired. I was hungry before because of a scene that I had with my wife. We show some vulnerability. We talk about random shit. That's life, man. That's life. That's fucking life. You know, this is what's happening.
I'm actually not tired now. I feel I've come alive.
Oh, you're alive. Oh, fuck.
I want to go for another hour. I know people are switching off, but in the ones
minute
in the droves. I was going to say, but then people are turning off in the ones. But no, maybe we should because we're at an hour and. I think the main reason why we should call it a day now is because I fucking need a piss.
That's fine. That's a good reason, man. But
it is a good reason. Because the alternative is I grab that glass over there and do it under the counter. Nobody else would know.
Except for the sound.
The counter, it sounds like I'm in a store. Yeah. that would be really embarrassing. Like, what's the charge, my lord? He was pissing under the counter as he was checking out at Publix. Yeah, that would be a little bit disturbing. So,
you're back, man. Good.
Yes.
So, good luck with your appointment or whatever.
Thank you. I will know about that in about an hour or so. Well, I won't because it'll keep me waiting for 2 fucking hours. So, about 3 hours. But I will let you know. I'm very confident. So, I nearly cancelled today because Adam, who was due to join us, had to cancel, and he's a great guy. He's a great guy. So anybody listening to this, I know we're laughing. Anybody listening to this, nobody's listening to this, but anybody listening to this, we've got Adam Eason coming on now. Adam Eason is a fucking hero of mine when it comes to hypnosis. Not because he's a great hypnotherapist, which he is, but because all his hypnotherapy is science-based. He just like ridicules anything that isn't science-based. And he was due on today, and he's running a marathon this weekend. He's got sick, and as I said to Olivier in an email this morning, he is just not the guy that would drop out like that. So I'm so looking forward to having him on, and he's a really funny guy. He's funnier than you. Is he funnier than me? Maybe not. No, he is.
I think there's definitely,
yeah, definitively, yeah.
Without knowing him.
Yeah. Can he breathe? Yes.
Yes, he's
funnier than you. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Good stuff, my friend.
Thanks, mate. I'm going to stop my recording.
I'm stopping as well. And we need to have a calendar or some stuff.